All right, I think I'll start and let people come in. So I want to thank you all for showing up and for giving me the time so that we can do this webinar. I'm very, very excited. I think I've prepared really nice material. If it is too much, just raise your hands and we'll do question and answer at the end. So let me share with you what I would like to share with you. And we have ample time at the end where you can ask questions about anything that doesn't make sense or if you want it to be explained more. Is that okay? Raise hands. Okay, fantastic. So this is for you, how to prepare yourself for long-lasting relationships. This is for you if you are single and you want to attract the right partner in your life, or if you are in a relationship and you want to improve it. And finally, if you desire a fulfilling, long-lasting relationship. So you're in the right place if that is what you hope for. What we're going to talk about today is reasonably well-adjusted people. So we're not talking about people with mental illness or extreme behavior. That is not the domain of mentoring. So if you're a reasonably well-adjusted person, which I'm sure you are, and if you are in a relationship, if your partner is a reasonably well-adjusted person. Other problems I've kind of touched on in my coffee break, but this is not what this webinar is about. So we'll do a question and answer at the end, and whatever you say will be in confidence. And I'll probably, cut the Q&A at the end. I'm not sure. We'll see how it goes. So it's not going to be published publicly because I want you to make use of this webinar and really get some benefits out of it. At the end of the webinar, if you want your free gift for giving me your time, I would like to send you a sound file of a visualization, a meditation, if you like, that I did many years ago. And it is about finding your right mate. So something to look forward to because it kind of works with your unconscious. It's a file that you listen to as you fall asleep. And if that is your goal, then I hope that it would help you accomplish what you want. Send messages anytime in the chat if there is something you want to draw my attention to. Otherwise, are we okay? Are you all excited? Good. All right. Few Unbox housekeeping rules. Please, something I always tell my clients, my people when I do a workshop or a webinar is forget what you already know. And this is because if you're going to hear something new, you might unconsciously fight it, battle it, because it doesn't fit with the concept or the perspective that you have already developed. So kind of leave it outside the door. Allow yourself to listen with an open mind, perhaps even an open heart. Just let it all go in, allow it to sink in, and allow yourself to connect new ideas with what you already know. And then as the week unfolds, see how that fits in your life. Don't worry about taking notes, but you can take notes. I can send you this presentation as a PDF. If you're really interested, just email me or leave a message at the end of the webinar, and I will do that with pleasure. And I also want you all to know that this is sacred space. So any question that you ask later, please respect the privacy of other people, because I really want you to make the best out of this. You may find that I say too much or that the information is a little bit intense because you are all different and I don't know how much is enough for some of you. So if it does get overwhelming, all you have to do is breathe. Just listen and breathe and you will still get the information. It will go into your system. So don't worry about that. Is that okay? Hi, Stella. Good to see you. A little bit about me for those who don't know me. I have been an intuitive and in the self-help field since 1992. At this point in my life, I can honestly tell you that what I really specialize in is that I identify people's blockages very quickly. And I can even promise you that in your discovery session, which is a complimentary session that you will have with me one-on-one, once you send in your online assessment, I can promise you that we will unbox something just to show you that change can be quick if you truly intend to work on yourself. I have developed my own method as a result of my experience and my background and what I've studied, and I called it Unbox the Real You, because I think once we go beyond the identities that we describe ourselves with or identify with, we truly come out of the box, and then we can truly see what we desire and what will fulfill our life. I have over 28 years experience in the holistic field. I have probably had over 14,000 sessions with people over those years. And I was named one of the best 100 psychics in the world. When I started as an intuitive in this field, and clients kept coming back and asking me, why has this happened? Why has this not happened? Which got me to delve even deeper and truly find out why are some people more predictable than others, and how does the future change, and who decides the future, and how do we make it happen. And in a nutshell, what I've discovered is the best way to predict the future is for you to create it. So if you understand who you are, what your goals are, and how to navigate what you truly are, which is body, mind, and soul, then you will get to where you want to go. I'm also a published author, and I have been a life coach columnist since 2004, both in the UK, and then when I moved to Dubai 7 years ago, I also had a life coaching column here. So what really makes me unique and different is my experience and perhaps my extrasensory abilities. So I can feel or sense where the problem lies. Very easy for me after all these years. And I think this is why I can target and see where the issue is, and then take out a tool from my toolbox and help you to unbox. This is a bit about my training. The two teachers who really formed my growth in this field are my former teacher and best friend, Marin Jose, who was the fourth psychic in her generation. Her mom was, her grandma, her great grandma. For many, many years, they were quite well known. And I must say, she shocked me by saying, nobody knows the future but you, and I can only know your future if you do. So that started me off on a path of curiosity, which allowed me to pursue, spurred me to pursue understanding consciousness and how we direct our lives. Keith Caspern, very good friend and a mentor, sadly passed away a few years ago, but I attended many, many classes and meditation sessions with him. He was a very unique individual. I also did recently something called the Miracle Method, which is a distant healing method using pendulum and charts. I also studied reconnective healing, essence of sound. I did a 4-year holistic studies course solely focusing on what we're doing today, or you'll see some of it what we're doing today, which brought all my knowledge together really. All the bits of knowledge were strung beautifully at the end of this 4-year course. I did access bars, I did the Silva method. The Silva method for me was the start. Since 1991, I did all of the Silva method because I was fascinated as to what you can do with your mind. So a lot of what we create in the relationships and in our lives really comes from here. What you hold onto, and also what you invest in yourself and what you put in your mind. I did the Healing Tao with Master Mantak Chia, an amazing, amazing system that changed my life. I studied with Caroline Myss, Deepak Chopra, also at the Spiritual Association of Great Britain, London College of Psychic Studies, and with Theo Gimbel, who for me was the father of color. He passed away many, many years ago, but I learned the principle of color therapy from him. So what are my core principles, or Unbox core principles? My really aim is to inspire, to empower. So I'm not going to put you down or lay the blame. I'm not interested in putting the blame on anyone. Sometimes people tell me I interrupt them. I do, because I interrupt that line of negative thinking. If I let you do that, then you're only going to ingrain it in your mind even more. So the objective here is to fine tune, to grow, to progress, and not to go back. So this is not therapy, it's mentoring. I help my clients extract wisdom from their experiences by understanding the path, the pattern, the dynamic that has led them to the present. So if you don't understand the steps of how you got somewhere in a relationship, you're not going to be able to resolve it. So what I'm advocating is reflecting on the past, not dwelling on it. So when you see it dispassionately as an observer, as a movie, how did that heroine get to this point in life or this point in her relationship, then you can begin to see the patterns that were driving you. I help identify a client where the client is, why a client is blocked, and I help them to get clarity right away. And I do this because I think we all feel encouraged if we can see results, if we can feel that we're making progress, then that edges us to move forward. My purpose is to effect a transformational shift from victim to creator. And this can be the hardest thing that you ever do, to feel that you're victimized in a relationship or by men or by the other or whatever it is. So it's really important to understand how we co-create or co-author with the other person, with the individual, even within a family, within a group, within society, within your country. So there is what you become aware of and what you co-author with someone else. And this is the domain of relationships. How do you co-author the relationship? I help clients. Can you see this, or do I move this window out of the way? Can you see the full screen? You can unmute yourself. I'm just not sure where to put this window. Can you see it clearly?
Okay.
Yeah, okay. The main purpose is to help clients to be the best version of themselves, which is really why we start on the self-growth path. How I do it is I hold clients accountable for what they create. If you don't hold yourself accountable for the actions that you took or did not take, you're not going to correct your path. So this is not about putting the blame. If I made the mistake, if I understand the process of how I misjudged something, an outcome or a relationship, then I can begin to understand how to get to a better path that would lead me, how to get onto a better path that would lead me to a more nourishing relationship. So what you will learn today is why you get blocked. You will also learn how to unblock and what the relationship dynamic is. If you understand the steps, then you can chart your path. And finally, you will begin to understand how to start connecting with the real you, how to have a deeper relationship with yourself, because you cannot have a deep connected relationship with someone else until you know what is inside you. Does that make sense, everyone? So if we don't know who we are, how can we judge and ascertain what we're looking for in another person? So by learning about you, by learning about the patterns that are distorted that you need to correct, if you will. So the way I see it, it's like your movie, your life is your movie. The movie is slightly out of focus or unclear. And what you can do is change the script and bring the picture into focus, what I call alignment. And we'll talk about this a little bit later on. So if you start with yourself, you will resolve 50% of the equation. So why do we get blocked? The trick is really to focus on you. The answers, or a big portion of the answers, lies within you. And this is because everything that we attract from without, everything that we have within attracts everything that is without. This is how energy works. Whatever you have within, you will attract what is without. Now you might say, oh, I'm a very nice person and I attracted a horrible man in my life. True, it may be true, but also there are aspects of you that are unconscious. And I'll show you in a minute. We may have, I don't want to call them negative, but we may have unresolved experiences that we don't know how to file in our mind, and that would cause a block. You may not be aware of the unconscious beliefs, like I'll never meet someone, or he will never improve, this will never get better, and therefore it wouldn't. So we attract with our mind, we attract experiences that our beliefs attract experiences. So our beliefs dictate experiences. And if you're not aware of what your unconscious dormant beliefs are, you will be attracting unknowingly, if you will, a negative relationship. Again, whether it's with co-workers or someone else, it doesn't really matter. The dynamic is the same. But tonight we're focusing on relationships. Now, why do we get blocked? If this is you, you have an energy field, or you have your personal space, whatever you want to call it really, and it's an electromagnetic force. So we're not talking about anything, what's the word I'm looking for? We're really talking about something that is established, that does exist. So when you do a scan, when you do an echograph, when you do a scan, what you measure is the electromagnetic field that is around. So everything that functions in your body has a magnetic field, an electromagnetic field. So roughly our space is like that much. I don't know if you've had an experience when you were sitting down at a cafe or something, reading a magazine, and suddenly you felt that there was somebody looking at you, and then you turn around and there is somebody looking at you. This is because your field is picking up on that, is communicating with somebody else's field. We communicate with trees, plants, animals. Everybody has a field. Anything that is alive, moving, that exists on the planet has energy, has a field. But this field needs to be clear. So there are two main currents that run within our field. The first current is the liberation current. That's the current that goes from down upwards. And then we have the manifestation current, which starts from the top and goes downwards. So the two kind of recycle your energy. Your energy field contains all the experiences that you went through, good and bad. It contains all the memories, it contains all the feelings, it contains all the belief and mindset. So if you're able to kind of read that field, you'll get a lot of information, which is why sometimes when clients come and they ask me, what does he feel? What does he think? It really doesn't, get you anywhere. If you know how you feel, if you watch your field, if you observe your field and how you're reacting, you will know. And again, we'll talk about this a little bit later on. So if you're not getting rid of, if you're not transmuting, if you're not synthesizing the experiences that you went through, you're not going to be able to download anything new. So either one current or both are blocked, and this is why we're not having anything new. We're not attracting a new person according to that. Okay, can I ask you guys to unmute yourself? I can't see who's unmuted here. Okay, done. So if you like the manifestation current or the realization current, when you get an idea, what do? You kind of like, touch your head. So like literally an idea drops in your head. You begin to dream about it, see it in your mind's eye, and then you begin to talk about it, and then you get really excited about it. And then you kind of move and you want to get things done. You may enlist the help of other people until the whole thing is manifested. So that is the manifest current. But if you don't reflect on your life, and if you don't assimilate the experiences that you went through, you're going to leave kind of like a blob of frozen energy in your field. So that's not going to go anywhere. So anytime you attract something new, you're going to hit a wall. It will get blocked, whether it's a job, whether it's finances, they're all connected. So I almost always tell my clients, money energy, love energy, creative energy are one and the same, because it is an expression of who you are. It's an expression of your consciousness, if you will. So if you get stuck in one area, probably in another area, something is unresolved, not integrated or assimilated in your memory field. Does that make sense? Have I lost anyone? Okay, good. So why do we do that? Because we don't have the awareness, or we don't practice the awareness on daily basis. You don't reflect on your day, like, why did I get irritated? Why did he do that? Why did she say that? Or why did I feel that way? So what happens if this is your field here? You will end up having positive experiences, which is the plus signs, and the negative experiences are kind of out of your perception, out of your field of vision. We file them somewhere, we forget about them, but they do exist. So if we're not aware of what we're holding onto that is not assimilated, I mean, people talk about negative and positive. I don't think they're negative and positive. It's just that experiences that we don't know where to file and they get stuck in our energy field. And then there are really positive experiences that act as a catalyst. Nonetheless, if you have a lot of negatives within your field, you don't have enough positives, you're going to weigh yourself down, you will feel stuck. So either this current is blocked or this current is blocked. So new information, new experiences, a new pattern cannot be established until you are clear, your inner world, your inside world is clear. And this is what we're working on today, how to clear you so that you can begin to attract new patterns, new experiences, or new people in your life. How do we get unblocked? My thing, I call it Bima. This is really who we are. This is what, if you like, our consciousness is made up of, which is the physical body. Bima stands for body, emotions, mind, and accountability to actions or actions. So the basic foundation is your body, because our awareness starts with the body. If you didn't have a body, you wouldn't be here, you wouldn't be experiencing things. So for me, the development, the awareness is kind of like a pyramid. A lot of the work is to do with the body. Some people miss that. They go immediately to the mind. They start rewriting their belief systems before they've actually processed their emotions. It's not going to happen. You're going to keep bumping into a wall. However, these 4 dimensions of change, as I call them, interact with each other all the time. But if you wanted to start from somewhere, start at the foundation, really. And what happened to me during, lockdown and homestay is I was stuck, literally stuck. I was really focused on my body, and I started to see whatever or perceive whatever I did not work on before. Literally, all the memories started popping up. The body started feeling tired. Then, when I shifted the emotional bit, the body felt lighter, and then more emotions came up. And then when I cleared those, suddenly my mind became more alert. I became aware of what I can create and this kind of thing. So they interact with each other all the time. But in terms of your awareness, when you meet someone, if you are with someone, don't think. Because if you have the wrong belief system, you're going to arrive at the wrong decision, or you're not going to see the big picture. But it's really simple. If you pay attention to how your body is behaving, are you turned toward the person? Is the person turned towards you? Do you feel comfortable? Do you have that feeling that you have when you walk into a new place or when you see someone? Or do you feel kind of protecting yourself, a little bit unrelaxed? Focus on the body. That is very, very important. So focus on you rather than the person. And if I can go a step further, I would say, look at the person as if they are, again, a movie or a painting. So detach, women worry whether the other side likes them, love them, attracted to them. What do they think? We spend a lot of time in their head. Don't do that. Stay in your body, observe what's going on in your body, and then you'll begin to know how your system is reacting without any beliefs. So even if you have the wrong beliefs, if you focus on your body, you'll begin to see the patterns emerge. There's a difference between emotions and feelings. Emotions, for me, are an energy in motion, kind of like hormonal. We feel euphoric, we feel down, we feel very happy, we feel really sad. So they go up and down, but this is how we learn. We learn through the emotional, not only upheaval, but even if it's a euphoric time, we learn through our emotional responses. Then they really register, they affect our chemistry, they affect the way we think, and finally the destination we arrive at. So it's really important that we keep these 4 dimensions of change in alignment and to kind of observe them, just to be aware of them all the time. And then you'll begin to kind of bring yourself together and get that focus that we were talking about. The final question mark is about you. Where is your life going? So how do you begin to unblock? You observe yourself with kindness. If you observe yourself in reproachment, your system is not going to respond, is not going to do anything. Sometimes people say, oh, I'm really scared. I mean, this is between you and you. If you face yourself, you will begin to notice that you will become a little bit stronger every time, a little bit more courageous every time, that your fears will shrink a little bit every time, simply because you're facing them. And this is really how energy works. When you face something, you shed the light on it, then you get the clarity. If you don't do that, you're not going to get the clarity. So don't be afraid of how you feel. But I do personally most of the work myself. I write it down. I don't share very often with girlfriends, maybe one or two. And the reason that I don't is because for me, the emotional blueprint is so important. It's so individual to you. You may share your troubles with someone else, but they may color their judgment through their own experience. So they may give you an answer that relates to them, not really to you, and then that might not make you feel good, and then you'll get lost again. So for me, emotional growth is so important, so sacred, that if you just practice a little bit of honesty with yourself, you're truly going to find out what is it that you don't like, what is it that you truly yearn for, and what price are you willing to pay for it. And if all these elements come together within the range of reasonably happy, then you are going to make the right decision. Does that make sense so far? Good. So if this is you, your awareness will grow as you focus on each dimension. And as you move from the first level, which is the body, into the emotions, you'll have a bigger perception, a wider perception, if you will. And as your growth continues, you will begin to see the totality of who you are differently. So it's going to help you unbox. You're not just going to see yourself according to how you define yourself. What happens when we unbox is we kind of create our true identity rather than start from the outset with a very limited identity. And I'll talk about this a little bit later on, because a lot of how you respond to the outer world, a lot of it is to do with how you define yourself. And if you limit your definition of yourself, your self-identity, your self-image, then you're going to limit how you respond. You're going to limit your options, your solutions, and how you respond to whatever is happening in the outside world. So this is the field again, and this is how your personal field fits into the 4 dimensions of change. So all aches and pains tell us something in the body. The way that you feel is probably triggered by a belief, or you felt something and that formed the belief. And then the belief formed, the emotion, I mean, formed the belief that you have, and the belief that you had formed the action that you took. Now, we are continuously moving, developing, evolving. So please don't lash at yourself for previous mistakes, because at that point in time, you were a different person and your bima was completely different than what it is now. So whatever you did then, you did because you were a product of those circumstances at that point in space-time. But now you can start unboxing now, and you can start seeing things with new eyes now. And all you have to do is be honest with yourself, observe yourself, and don't be afraid to face your truth, your reality. Going on with how to unblock yourself, you need to align yourself. So the alignment is kind of the central current that goes from the bottom of the pyramid of awareness to the top. So we may fluctuate, we may go from left to right, yes or no, I want a relationship, I don't want, I'm sick of him, I'm not, like that. But so long as you do it in that acceptable range, without causing permanent damage, whether emotionally, physically, or mentally to yourself, then you can always transmute or transcend what you're going through by awareness, through the awareness. And we will talk a little bit about how to become more aware. So when we are in a relationship, it's 2 people, and the 2 people have 2 fields. As we mentioned earlier, your field has the total sum experience, beliefs, dramas, euphorias, mindset, everything, memories that you went through. Some of it is positive, some of it is negative. Now, the other person that you draw into your life has the same. They also have their own body, whatever their body went through, their own emotional experiences, negative, positive, which help develop their negative or positive mindset, again, which led them to the right or the wrong actions. So when the two fields come together, they interact because literally we are walking batteries. We are 95% water. With the electricity, we are really walking batteries. So anyone you come close to, again, whether animal, plant, or a person, you are going to react to. And if you're not aware of what is in your inner world, you're not going to be aware of where the areas of conflict or disharmony are. So when the relationship starts to get on, an unhealthy relationship will have all the negatives and the minuses inside. But a healthy relationship is where we leave what we need to work on. We need to be accountable to what we need to work on outside our field. And then we share what is positive, if you like, in our field in that partnership range. So if the two circles meet, the sector in the middle, that's the partnership, that's the marriage, that's the relationship. And what you want to do is you want to invest positively in that partnership zone. But if you need to do something, be financially independent or emotionally independent, even if you are in a relationship, you kind of need to hold your own and not be dependent on everything on your partner to provide. And this is why I left the minus signs outside and the positive you share. And I think if we take accountability to our action, accountability to our own self-growth, it's going to help us a great deal in understanding what the other person is going through. So if you're not judging you, and if you're understanding your outdated mindset or your distorted patterns, you'll begin to appreciate that your partner is going through them, and then your communication is going to be quite a lot better. Does that make sense, everyone? Are you with me? Yeah. Can I get nods or hands or anything?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
good. Thank you. All right. So why do relationships fail? Because as we mentioned earlier, we have the unconscious and we have the conscious interaction. So you may be aware of everything that is fantastic that you're bringing into a relationship, but you're not aware of what your negative patterns are. And when I was doing the 4-year holistic studies course, that was the hardest thing, to put ourselves under the microscope and for 4 years track our negative patterns, track what we think are faults, etc. You focus so much on you that you begin to see it in the other as well, or why they're doing it, or why they're not doing it, or why you're attracting them. What can also happen is one person can grow and develop and work on themselves while the other person remains at the same level of awareness that they are at. So the two fields, for lack of a better word, will not be in synergy or harmony anymore. You just can't help it. Like whatever you do, if you have not changed, you're not going to get the same response out of the other person. Let's say you did not grow, but they did and they moved on, but you still have your issues. You're so full of issues. Then how can that relationship grow if it's lopsided? And I think sometimes this is what we don't see. We don't see us that we're stuck. We only see what is good, what is positive. We don't really take the time to investigate what is distorted, what needs to be healed. And then we go into the relationship with exactly the same things that we did when we walked into a failed relationship, and then the outcome doesn't change. And if we repeat that few times, then a theme develops, and the theme only enforces what you need to be working on. And this is why people develop a negative, a victim mentality and a negative one, because simply they don't see what they're carrying within themselves, within their inner world. They're not facing it. They're so scared to be true about it. And then they walk through life, instead of holding the torch, they walk through a dark tunnel hoping for a better outcome. How's it going to happen if you're not going to do it? And if you're not going to navigate your life? So accountability. My personal strategy, Unbox relationship strategy, is that whatever the situation is, And I mentioned this because I had a lot of messages on followers from Instagram, and they're going through really serious problems. You know, I'm not talking about abuse now or whatever it is, but my view to them was, you can't change your husband, you can't leave him now for a whole bunch of reasons, but you're 50% of the equation. Nobody is winning, nobody has the upper hand, nobody's going to control you, because you know, as much as you want a relationship, or you maybe you are in a relationship already, as much as you really want it and you're in it, at the same time you're still fighting the fact that, you know, maybe it's taking a little bit of my independence away. So I don't know what is going within you, but if we start asking questions, if we begin to be curious about where our life is going, our relationship is going, then really we will find the answers. In any case, you are always 50% of the equation. Even if you are in a healthy relationship, people think that when we are in a good relationship, the two merge and become one field. No, they don't, and they should not, because that is codependence. So you want to maintain your field, you work on your issues, you share what is positive, you support, you nurture. The partner does the same thing. So the area of partnership is all nurturing, positive, bonding, building deeper connection. And if we do that, if the two fields merge, then you lose your identity and who you are. So watch out for that. The more that you work on your own growth, the more that you will have a better relationship with a partner. Or if you're single, the more likely you are to attract somebody of a higher caliber of awareness, who's someone who's truly authentic and genuine, if you are. So we always start from ourselves, we always start from within, and then you'll see it's almost like a magnet. If you get that alignment, then from the outside world, things begin to fall in the right place. Now, timing is a different matter. If you maintain this red arrow, remember, in the center of the pyramid, if you maintain that alignment consistently and for so long, then you will make things happen a lot faster. If you carry a lot of emotional weight, then you will wait for things to happen, because your energy is going to be heavy. It's not going to interact so quickly and smoothly with whomever, but let alone in a relationship. And this is why sometimes relationships are stagnant and they don't evolve over time. So my second strategy point for relationship is stay in your head. Don't go into somebody's head. Can you imagine if their field, their head, their whatever memory bank is so full of such negative things? Why would you want to go there when you have all the answers within you? Because your job is not to heal anyone else, not to psychotherapy anyone else, not to raise anyone else, but your job is to hold your own space and to sense with your whole being, am I reasonably happy or not? And as I said, nothing is perfect. It's going to go up and down. All relationships are. They will go through phases, but we're talking in general. Are you reasonably happy? Then yes, then stay in that relationship. If you are on your own, are you reasonably happy and alive? Because that in itself will attract positive experiences that are aligned with your current level of awareness. So as we grow higher, we're going to experience better and I want to say brighter things, but they really are sometimes, you know, even over like really difficult situations, you'll get over them if you have that alignment, if you have that awareness, you process quickly. It isn't that you don't sway, you do, but you recover very quickly. So with your awareness, you're building up your resilience and you're not going to feel disappointed because you're seeing things for what they are. So what I'm trying to do with you today is to help you see things in a different way, to help you perceive relationships and the dynamics of any relationship differently, to add to what you know, and hopefully you will start navigating relationships a lot better. The third point is you can't change people. This is, I don't even want to say that it's difficult to one society or one culture over the other, because I've really met different people from different cultures and it's the same. It's just the domain, you know, that they exist within, what they allow themselves to be programmed by without paying attention, you know. So you can't really change people. A lot of women try very hard to attract men to land a husband, and then the minute they do, they start changing him, and then the problems start. So you can't change anyone. Your job is to see them for what they are, and then see if that is a fit. If it's not, move on, because nobody changes. People evolve, but they don't drastically change. And the patterns, I remember Marin told me once, really freaked me out. She said, everything that you want to know about a person, go back to the first 30 seconds you've met them. And since she said that, I always remember, like, how did I feel? What did I think? What did I feel in my body when I first met someone? And I really go with that feeling. Whether people like it or not, it doesn't matter, because you're going to live with your experiences. And I don't mind making mistakes, because we learn from our mistakes, which makes me a better designer, creator of a better future. So no loss by committing to be aware and holding yourself accountable and just really observing, because if you don't observe your own patterns, how can you begin to understand someone else's? Relationship is like a tennis match. People go into emotions, but let's ground it. Let's go to a dynamic. It's two people on a court. You do something, potential partner or existing partner does something, you respond, they respond, and so on. So it's like a tennis match. If you keep putting a lot of effort in, if you keep serving the ball, but you get nothing back or very little, then you don't really have a game. Again, we don't need to go into their heads. We don't need to go into our heads. We just need to be real, to observe what is happening, to get the facts, first level, before we even see how we feel. Just observe within your body what is happening. So if that continuous, consistent dynamic is not happening, you can bet that this relationship is not going to go anywhere. If you are in a relationship, if you don't have that dynamic, it means that communication broke down some time ago. Because usually in good, reasonably happy marriages, relationships, there should be a degree of communication where you can say something without getting into a conflict. I don't like the way that you are talking to me, or I don't like the way that you've handled that. It's okay, and then you speak about it. I know that when we exchanged our marriage vows, my husband and I, we vowed not to go to sleep unless we sorted something out, that we will not go to sleep upset. And believe me, in the 11 years of marriage, we never ever did. We both honored that, and that helped the relationship get even deeper. It's like, having your best friend and falling in love with your best friend. I mean, that's really I wouldn't say that's the ideal, because ideal is different for different people, but that's what you want to aim at. Somebody that you're comfortable with, that you can deeply connect on all levels, that you see them for what they are, you're willing to love them, accept them as they are. Of course, the minor things you want to be able to communicate and co-navigate. Otherwise, really, the relationship is not going to take off the ground. Sometimes I hear, particularly women, say that, I've committed to this relationship for 7 years or 12 years, and I've invested that much in it, and I'm going to wait and see what happens. Hello, that means it took you 7 or 12 years to see things for what they are. So that is not a commitment. That is a wrong investment, a failed investment in the wrong person. Redefine your perspective. A lot of people see relationships about emotions, and they think, for me, emotions, as I said, are different. Emotion from feelings. Emotions are energy in motion. They go up, they go down. Sometimes they're hormonal. There's also a biochemical process that goes on in the body. I'm not talking about that. We all go through that, and it depends what age span you are in. Literally, there will be typical behavior that we will go through, but I'm talking about like really awareness. You don't want the emotional stuff that takes you off track, because it will go up and down. But you need to ask yourself, are you getting a good investment? Are you getting a good return on your investment? So I said earlier, money, energy, creative energy, love energy is one and the same. The only difference is that money energy is really tangible. We see where we invest money, how much we invest money, what return we get. So money energy is the only tangible energy, and it's a manifest energy, so we can literally track it. But that energy is just the same. What you invest in a person, in a child, in a relationship, how much energy are you putting into that relationship, and are you getting something back? If it was a bank account, you'd close it. Same thing with relationships. If you keep trying, what I call banging your head against the wall and the wall doesn't move, then you're the one who should be moving. So by being aware and just aware of our feelings, what's going on in our body and so on, then you can really see, detect, perceive that this investment is wrong before long. So you don't need to stay in it for 7 years or 12 years as one of my clients did before she could actually make a move. For love, for relationships to be long-lasting relationship, for me, love is about a connection. You need to be able to establish a connection with someone physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, in whichever way, also creatively, because it's almost like if you're not broadband, you're not going to attract someone who's broadband. It doesn't go. But the more you work on yourself, the more you're going to attract someone more or less on your level, the more that you're going to share in that partnership zone. But let's say you're a very boring person, or the person you meet is very boring and they're very good looking, but they're very boring. How long do you think that relationship would last? So there are layers that add depth and therefore give longevity to a relationship. So you want to consider, why do I want a relationship? Not what are the important qualities in a man, what are the important qualities in you? What are you offering? What can you give? And if you don't get the same back, then that's your answer. So how do we build awareness? Awareness starts when we begin to self-connect or connect with ourselves. Awareness can develop through BIMA, the body, emotions, mind, and accountability to action. And the third thing that you can do as of today is that you can start a B, I called it a B journal, which is a body emotions journal. It's not a diary, it's more of a reporting back to yourself every day, just 2 minutes. 2 minutes on your body, write 2 lines, 2 minutes on your body, write 2 lines, 2 minutes on your emotion. Like today, my body was whatever, depleted, tired, my knees hurt. And then, okay, how about your emotions? Oh, I was feeling really down or really up or really inspired, or maybe your mind, I spent too much worrying about this or that. Just report it, don't analyze, don't explain to yourself, because this is going to be your mirror. And if you look at your mirror once a week, you will begin to see patterns. You might see that you're so worried about that you're not going to meet someone that you're not actually doing anything about meeting someone. You might find out that I was so worried that this relationship is going to end that you didn't actually invest in it positively to nurture it, in a way, unconsciously driving it to end. Whatever your issue is, you will find it out for yourself, and that will give you the motivation to heal or fix your distorted patterns through your observation, through being a loving but curious observer. So be journal. If you can, start that. Observe your 4 dimensions of change. But before you do, start with 1 and 2. Start with the body and with the emotions. And if you keep this up for a month, you really will be able to see your patterns. So what I do or did, especially when we did the 4-year course, I took a highlighter once a month and I really went through the 4 weeks and I highlighted common theme. And I was quite worried about my mom at that time. And every now and then I would do, I'm so worried about my mom. I'm so worried about my mom. For 4 years, I was so worried about my mom that, my mom was very well long after that. But it made me see how much mental energy was going that way, that was distracting me from creating what I needed to create. So the journal will show you your own patterns and you don't have to compare them with anything or anyone else. How do you build a deeper connection with yourself? Be curious, ask questions to yourself, and be interesting. If you want an interesting partner, or if you want your relationship to remain interesting, then please be interesting. Work on yourself. Become an interesting person. Be alive. Anything you want to attract, you need to be, to embody before you bring somebody else in. Does that make sense? So by doing that, you really find out who you are. And once you know who you are, then you're going to know who you want in your life and who you don't want in your life. How do we do that? There's a 7-step just to make it easy, to establish a deeper connection with yourself, to help you know who you are, to help you know what is your life, to help you know what is your life story, or yeah, what is your story. So if we investigate these 3 elements, who are you? What's your life about? What is your life story? What does your life consist of, if you like? Then you'll begin to build a picture of who you are, what you want, and what is your life purpose, or what is your life about. And the first step is to detach. I do very well if I detach from myself and I see myself as my best friend. And then I talk to Sahar and I see how I can help her, why she's afraid, why she's procrastinating. And if you detach, you become more objective. And believe me, I do. And I hold myself accountable to every thought, to every feeling that I have, because I want to see where is this anomaly going. And then there is no disappointed because I'm participating in it and I'm aware of it. Even if the outcome is not what I wanted, I'm still aware of how I went wrong. So hopefully at any stage, I can steer back and get back on track. So I really kind of enjoy this interactive process of observing and playing with and directing the 4 dimensions of change. Find out what your identity is by probing yourself. It's very interesting when I get a client and I say, who are you? And they say, oh, I'm a banker, or I'm a mother with 2 children. No, that's a role that you play for a certain period of time. But who are you deep down? What is your field trying to say? What is your energy trying to say? If you were a tuning fork, if I were to hit you, what is the sound that we will hear out of you? So you need to come alive like a Christmas tree if you really want to play with the universe and attract all things positive, not positive, but attract what you want to yourself. 3, you need to be able to assess, then you evaluate, and then you resolve, and then you act in the right direction, and then finally you affirm to yourself that I've done that. So this is your homework, how to discover who you are, what your life is, and what your life and what you want from a relationship, and where you're going in a relationship, and what is your life purpose. It's the same. Detach, identify, assess, evaluate, resolve, act, and affirm. How do we identify? Let's say we're looking about your life. You can say that an aspect of my life is about family and friends. Another aspect is about work and career, finance, creativity, happiness, relationships, etc. What I am good at and what I would like to do, which I really aimed for that, to demystify things, to make a complex process simpler so I can help my clients with it. So whatever is intangible, if you make tangible, then you can see it and then you can relate to it in a different way. And one of the coaching tools is the Wheel of Life. I called it the Web of Life because when I made that circle, I didn't know how to make one and it looked like a web, which I liked, and it made me kind of think of a spider and how we weave the pattern of your life, of our lives. So you can take a circle, you can do this right now, or you can do it when I send it to you, but it will be really interesting if you wanted to ask any questions to do it now. And if you divide the circle into several sectors, and you can say, okay, this is what's important for me, or this is how I see it now. It's to do with my spiritual growth, it's to do with family and friends, etc. All these areas that we identified before. And how do you assess it? You know, let's say least happy is 0, which is the center of the circle, and most happy is the outside of the circle, which is 10. And you just mark an X according to the degree of happiness or unhappiness or satisfaction that you believe you're going through right now, that reflects what you feel about that aspect, that area of your life right now. And then you connect all these dots, and then your life has a shape. Does that make sense? Okay, so I think I need to move this here. So if you do your circle, which is on the bottom right, you might get this kind of shape once you connect the dots. So your spiritual development is 8 out of 10, your family life, not so good, 4, Your career is wow, 10. Your finances, no, not bad, 9, and so on. And then you connect these dots together and you begin to see a shape. And that shape kind of gives a description to your life. And how do you evaluate? First of all, ask yourself, what shape is my web? Is it a circle? Is it a star? Is it an amoeba? This is kind of a star. And for a healthy growth, you want to achieve a well-rounded shape of your life. So from this circle, as an example, too much attention is being put, for example, on work, finance, and spiritual development, and very little on family. So for example, this person might be truly suffering in relationships. When we talk about relationships, it's the same. What is important? How interesting are you? How well developed are these aspects of you? And then you ask yourself, what areas do I need to reduce? So maybe if I reduce meditation time, maybe I can spend more time with family to get the balance. So you want to get a circle as much as you can. And doing this exercise gives you an idea of what aspects are overdeveloped in your life and what aspects are underdeveloped. So the last question is the most important one, is what areas can I improve? And when you look at that, you will see right away what 2 areas need improving. How do you resolve a situation? By taking action. Very often a client would say, I'm trying. And my thing is, if you're trying, you're not doing. Because when you go home, let's say at the end of the day, pre-COVID, and it's dark, what do? Do you try to switch on the light, or do you actually switch it on? So if you're gonna stay and procrastinate, changing a situation is by taking an action. So from your circle, what action can you do more of to bring balance? And what action can you stop doing to bring balance? Does that make sense? So if you're overspending, maybe you can spend less. If you're not exercising or going outdoors or whatever it is, maybe you can do more of. So depending on your web of life, you can begin to bring yourself in balance, as we said, because when you do, then you will bring your current or future partner into balance as well, because they will respond to whatever your makeup is, to whatever your energy field carries within. And 6, you begin to act. How do you act? Look at your list, the list that you made at the bottom, the actions that you will stop doing. One action, don't overwhelm yourself. Decide on one action you will stop, one action you will do more of, and look at this list 3 times a day. I really believe in kind of not pushing, because when you push, you get a force back, like a pendulum. So just look at the list for now. Whatever your list is, what can I do to improve myself to attract a relationship? What can I do about myself to improve my current relationship? Look at that list. What can I do more of? What can I stop doing? You look at that list, just look at that list 3 times a day. Literally, I stick them up on sticky paper. Just look at it. Because when you do, it makes the unconscious conscious, because the message is getting through the eyes to the center of the brain, and it will register with no effort at all, just by looking at it. And I promise you, within 3-4 days, you begin to act on those things without any effort at all, because the whole thing has been integrated within you. You're not pushing yourself, you're not meeting with resistance, it's happening naturally and organically. So don't put any pressure on yourself. And each day ask yourself, have I done the best with my day today under the circumstances? Maybe today has not been perfect for me, but I've done 2 major things and I'm very happy with them under the current circumstances. Same thing, what are your goals, your objectives before you meet someone, or when you meet someone? Do as much as you can without pushing yourself, without putting any pressure. Why? Because the brain always fights change. So if you kind of trick yourself, I'm not really changing, I'm edging forward, I'm taking many steps forward, then you're not threatened. Your brain will not stop you from moving forward, because it doesn't perceive this as a new thing in your life, and therefore you'll go through it without a lot of resistance. Seventh step is affirm. I love affirmations, and for a long time in London, I lived in London for 26 years. I always had an affirmation um, behind my front door. So every time I walked in, came out, shut the door, I would read the affirmation. So when you can affirm to yourself, if you're stuck, I move forward with ease and joy. You can affirm to yourself if you're not in a relationship, I always respond to positive suggestions, or I always attract the right people in your life. Whatever you feel really resonates with you. But very important to affirm the positive, because there is a little child within us, and the little child likes to be rewarded, and reward works and punishment doesn't. If you're a mother, you'd know that. Okay, so why should you unbox? Because when you are in alignment, you are in the flow. So when you're flowing, everything falls in the right place. You don't strive, it just happens, it comes. Okay, some bigger things will take longer to come to materialize, because they involve co-authoring or co-creating with other people and other circumstances. But in the main, you'd feel really joyful, happy that whatever I could do, whatever I want, I have. That kind of really joy is the feeling. If I love this thing of the tree here, because the law is, the gravity is a law, and if you like, the apple will always fall to the ground. It's the natural law of gravity. And if you're not catching any apples, it doesn't mean that you've got a problem with your tree. It just means that you're not standing under the tree to catch them. So energy is always flowing, and if you're not in the flow, it means you're outside that zone, that safe, reasonably happy zone. You went to an extreme, and whatever took you to the extreme, you need to undo in order to come back into the stream and to flow. So when we align, we are in the flow, we become a lot clearer about what we want in our lives, and why is more importantly. And once there's a click, it becomes very easy to, I nearly said to materialize the person, but it really does become that easy. The minute that you are in alignment, things begin to fall into place, as well as the relationship that you desire, or that your partner will start changing because you have. It's like a dance. If you change your step, they will. And it's just amazing to see how less effort you need, how much less effort you need when you are in alignment. Really, things flow. The right people call, the right assistant comes. It's like a magnet, you know. In alignment, it's in your stillness that things come to you. But getting that alignment is the true self-growth process. So when we're struggling, we're outside that flow. And if this is where we want to go in life, which is the controlled outcome, and without awareness, we're going to hit the wall, because all these forces will be pushing us. All these bad relationships, memories, what is happening now, all of that will take you off track. But when you begin to have the awareness of the 4 dimensions of change, the body, the emotions, the mind, and the actions, you can't control any outcome, but you will be in that range, in alignment, and you will be able to guide or steer those forces and energies towards the right outcome, the genuine outcome that you want for. In self-growth, that would be your authentic identity. In relationships, that would joyous fulfillment. The process is really the same. Become aware, get aligned, and then you will start creating what you want for yourself, or directing a current situation or relationship. So what happens when we kind of hit extremes like that? We waste a lot of energy, literally. Instead of moving forward, we spend it going around, stuck, and that's why we get stuck, basically, because of having gone outside the safety zone. Although I don't want to say it like that, but you're outside the flow, so it will take more effort to come back into the flow. So depending where you are, and if you need help, then fill the online assessment form, and then I can see where you are out of alignment. So if this is the pyramid of awareness and growth, we have the 4 dimensions of change, and as you become aware and develop each dimension, you reach the top of the pyramid. The blue arrows represent awareness. So when you're standing at the bottom of the pyramid, your field or vision is very restricted, which is that very small arrow at the bottom of the pyramid. When your awareness grows, your perspective will be bigger. So if you're standing at the bottom of the pyramid, all you can see in front of you is a big stone. But as you start to climb, you begin to see a little bit more, to the point that when you reach the top, you have full view and the whole vista opens up. So this is why we do this work. This is why we do this work on ourselves, because it is growth. It will give us a better view so we can navigate better. And this is why it really is worth it to work on yourself if you want to be in a loving, nurturing, long-lasting relationship, and to be aware of where you're stuck and why. So, what is your story? We spoke a lot about who you are, what is your authentic identity, what is your life about, or the different aspects of your life. What is your story? Stories are very important because stories are a theme, the underlying theme through which, or due to, you bring experiences to yourself. And it is a lot of unconscious patterns. But if you want to know, like, really why you're going through all these problems or blockages, or not being with the right person, or not meeting them, or never had a proper relationship, if your life is a movie, describe it. You can start right now, today, or right now, or when you want to. You can just begin writing without stopping. Don't take the pen longhand, not typing. Don't take the pen off the paper, and just start writing. Once upon a time, there was a little girl, and her name was Stella, and she and keep going. Write a page or two and see what is your story about. And if you do it that way, without fear, it's a creative exercise, you're tuning in, you're gonna find out what is the underlying theme of your life, and usually that will reflect on your relationships. Well, on a lot of things, but you can uncover whatever is blocked about your relationships. So remember the two circles and the two people. If you have an issue that you did not work on, that you're not aware of, you will attract someone to force you to work on that. So that may be a negative experience. It could be that, for example, you never valued yourself. So you will attract somebody who will try and dominate you until you push them back and you stand up for yourself. That sort of thing. So when we are with someone, it will bring out the negative and the positive, which is why I almost always say every relationship with the other is about the self. It's not about the other. So why do we unbox? Because it teaches us how to be resilient. Resilient is about recovering. Being resilient is about recovering very quickly. So you don't go down. You don't have downtime for too long. And that makes you feel truly powerful, or I should say empowered, because you're participating, you're responding to your life, you're taking charge, you're recharting your course, you're moving forward without spending too much time down and feeling miserable, because the longer you do, the more you will be, the further you will be from the flow. It will take you more time and work to get back into the flow. Why? Because truly you will feel that you fall in love with your life, and you will feel truly fulfilled. And I can honestly tell you that after all the drama that I went through in the last few years, it still helped me to kind of pick up and reconstruct my life. And I'm really enjoying the process, although it was a very sad one. But it inspired me, and it made me see, okay, what can I unbox now in my life? That my beloved husband is gone, my beloved mom is gone, and I've lost a cousin last week. And it just, this sense of loss, this theme of loss has been my story, if you like, and now I understand. I understand why I had to experience that. Now, what can you do on your own? There's a lot of Unbox free resources. You can go to psmagazine.com. This is a magazine that I started in 2004. I've put a lot of my life coaching articles that I used to write for magazines on it. It has a column that's called Agony Aunt, where people ask a lot of questions. You can go through that. If you are on Instagram, many of you are, I know, you have my Unbox coffee break, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Friday, recently, I have been asked to do it in Arabic, which is a challenge, but I'm loving it. You can watch the previous coffee breaks, and they are about Unbox, and they do tackle specific issues. You can go to my website. I am currently structuring a new website. It should be online very soon. Or you can listen to my podcast on iTunes. So there's a lot of stuff that you can listen to about unboxing to become aware of how to use the process. I also have an Unbox Space group, which is a private group. You're entitled to join because you're on this webinar. And very shortly, I would like to do live Q&A sessions on Facebook for that group. So please request to join, and I'll get you in. And hopefully next month, I will start having regular live Q&A answers to really get people to move forward and unbox their new life. So you can use the free resources. You can email me. Please remember to email me for your gift so I can send you the visualization. When you're ready to take more action, take the online survey. The online survey is on my website. There's a link. It's also in my Instagram bio. You can click and take it right there. And as soon as you send that, you get your complimentary discovery session. So that would help us both see where you are stuck and maybe determine what your package is. I have like a minimum package, a medium package, and a longer one for deeper issues. For new clients, I have a very special three-session starter pack that you can subscribe to. If you don't want to do that, you can register for my Unbox Homestay and Build a Brighter Future online course. I did that a few months ago at the beginning of Homestay, which even companies bought, and they found it very, very useful. So this you work on your own. It's a series of 15 or 17 videos that you listen to. You take the information, you become aware, you get it in, and I will continue to sell it, I think, at 95% discount until we go back to normal. So right now it's $150 or 119 pounds. And again, it's on my Instagram link in the bio. You can subscribe and then it will be unlocked and you can watch it. So I hope that today has opened up your heart a little bit. I'm gonna stop sharing and you can unmute yourself and you can send me any questions or type them or unmute and talk. I wanna hear, did you find it useful? Did it help you in any way?
Oh well.
Sarah, go.
I found it was really beautiful.
Oh, bless you.
It's very deep actually, and then it created a lot of thoughts, like a flow of different things coming in that you think like, oh, I'm not going to manage, I'm not following, I'm not, because so many other things were coming in. It's like you were opening up doors, windows at the same time.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
I find this really amazing, Sahar. Really, really.
Thank you. Thank you, Stella. Any questions? Would anyone like to ask anything, clarify anything? Angela, how do you feel? How was it for you? I'm putting her on the spot because I need to drink some water.
I was just about to say I need to slope off because I have another meeting soon. But
sure.
Yes, very interesting.
Good, I'm glad. Any questions? Anyone else? Buthaina, Fatima, Tihal?
I would like to ask actually a couple of questions, but maybe privately.
Sure.
But I find this session is extremely, extremely helpful, and it's an eye-opener on how to look at things from a different point of view. You're always kind of enclosed within yourself. You don't think, you're enclosed within yourself. Your thoughts are kept inside you, and it's good to see it from, when you're outside the box, like you say, unbox, get out of the box and see things differently.
Yeah.
So it's an eye-opener.
Good.
I really enjoyed it, Sahar. Thank you so much, Habibti.
Bafatini, you make me happy. Thank you. Ibtihal, كيف لقيتي? How are you?